Hi everyone, welcome to this quick start video where we'll walk you through setting up your Velostrata deployment for on-prem migration into GCP. Be sure to follow along via our instructions at velostrata.com/GCP. Step 1 will involve the identity access management part of our deployment, and we'll use scripts that we've created which you can download from the URLs that we'll specify along the way. We'll use our first PowerShell script to add the service account that Velostrata will need to create resources in GCP. You'll need to access your GCP console dashboard and copy your project ID for this step, as we show here. This first script will also generate a JSON file that's attached to the service account. You'll be asked to point to this file later on when you add the Velostrata Cloud extension. Our second script will create a service role in VMware so that Velostrata can perform operations via vCenter. The next step in our deployment will involve creating and configuring the appropriate systems on-prem and in GCP to facilitate our migrations. First, we'll download the OVA file, which you can access via this link. And once that is completed, we'll go ahead and add a OVF template via vCenter. First, we will select the OVA file we just downloaded. Next, you can define the name of this VM however you wish, and then you'll select the ESXi host that this VM will run on. Select the storage that you would like to use for this VM. Pick your network adapters. Velostrata is free to use for GCP customers, so for the subscription ID field in our wizard, you'll simply input your GCP billing account ID, which you can find in your GCP account at console.cloud.google.com/billing. Once the wizard's done, we'll go ahead and wait for that operation to complete, and when it does, we'll go ahead and power on this new VM. Once it's powered on, use a web browser to navigate to that VM's IP so that we can register this appliance with vCenter, which will give Velostrata the permissions it needs to perform operations within vCenter. To do this, we'll use an account with permissions to vCenter, which can be an administrator or a different service user which has been granted the permissions role like we created in step 1. In our final step, we'll add the Velostrata Cloud extension in vCenter, which will allow us to communicate with GCP. For that, we'll need to grab the exact service account username from our GCP console, which we created earlier using our scripts. We'll also need our VPN active for this final step, where we'll deploy our appliances into GCP. Once we've done that, we'll go back to vCenter, where we can select Velostrata operations and add our cloud extension. First, you'll select your cloud provider, which in this case is GCP, and we'll create a new credential. We have to use the same name that we picked when we ran our first script. And we'll also upload our service account key. This is the JSON file that we created during our first script as well. Next, we'll define some network options. For example, the GCP region and VPC you wish to use with Velostrata. You can also define your network tags here, which you'll reference again later when you define your firewall rules. Now we'll define our cloud extension name and pick the service account we'll use. This is the same account we highlighted in the GCP console earlier. Lastly, we'll pick the size of this cloud extension, either small or large, depending on how many concurrent migrations you want to run. We'll deploy the cloud edge devices in 2 unique zones so as to protect against zone failure. We'll pick the 2 availability zones and edge subnets for each node here, and then pick our default workload subnet as well. Once that's complete, we can validate that this cloud extension is set up correctly by viewing it in vCenter and making sure that everything is listed as active. And once you've done that, you are essentially ready to start migrating VMs from on-prem and into GCP. That'll do it for this video. Here are 3 more resources that might be helpful, and we'll see you on the next video.